Today I'm going to show you guys how I converted this into this to imitate this and how this compares to this. This is fully functioning Samsung wallet tracker. I'm going to show you guys how I made it. Even the button works, as you guys can hear. It works, and but keep watching. I'll show you guys how I did this. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because let me rewind back. A few years ago, I lost my wallet and it became the hardest headache that I had in a while because I had to replace every single one of my ID cards. This included my driver's license, my military card, my debit cards, and just a whole bunch of things that I had to replace, all because I lost my wallet. And that was such a massive inconvenience that I decided I needed a wallet tracker in case that happens again. So I did a little bit of research and I found out about Tile's wallet tracker. Now, I went with Tile because for one, they were the only company that had a wallet tracker at the time. And two, Tile has a massive database. So if I were to lose my wallet, if someone else that has a Tile was in the area, their phone can ping, I guess, connect to the device, and in a way just lets me know where my wallet is. That way I can go find it. And this is the second one that I've had. I upgraded from the previous version to this one when the battery died. And now the battery on this one is extremely low and is about to die. Now, while I really absolutely love this so much, there are two things that kind of annoys me with Tile. For one, the battery is not replaceable. So now that it's about to die, I have to buy a brand new one and I have to throw this away. That is just, I don't like that because now I have to set up the whole new, I don't know, I just feel like the battery should be replaceable considering it's going to be in the wallet, so it doesn't matter if it's waterproof or not. I mean, it's not even going to be waterproof anyway since there's holes for speakers, so I feel like the battery should absolutely be replaceable. But anyway, it's not replaceable, so that's one reason why I want to switch from Tile. Another big reason I want to switch from Tile is because there is a particular feature that I want, which is the left behind. But if you want that with Tile, you have to pay a premium subscription. And I just feel like, I don't know, man. I just feel like it should come for free with it. Besides that, I absolutely love it. As you can see, it fits perfectly into my wallet. And I actually usually have a double-sided tape in it. That way it doesn't fall out like this. But since it's time for me to replace it now, because the battery is dead, I mean, it's about to die, it's extremely low, I decided I'm gonna go with Samsung because I have other Samsung trackers and I love that Samsung has that left behind notification. So which means that if my phone disconnects from my keys or from my bike, it just lets me know that, oh, my phone has disconnected from my keys or something like that. And that is all free. I don't have to pay extra subscription or anything like that. And then on top of that, the battery on this thing is replaceable. Now, the thing is, Samsung made this thing so thick, which is good and all right for keychains, but they don't have a version for wallet, which is a real bummer because a lot of people tend to lose their wallet. So long story short, I'm going to try and convert this into something like this. And if I'm successful, you will be watching the video on how you can do that yourself. The first thing is to obviously take this apart. Now, to make sure that this even works, I need to pull the tab, and okay, so there's a sound, which means that it works. So I don't need to connect it to my phone. Maybe I should connect to my phone right now, actually. So I ended up connecting it to my phone and named it Wallet. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna use the pin that is provided to push the battery out. The battery alone is thicker than the tile. The next thing is you're gonna use a knife to slowly and carefully pry open the sides. Now you want to start at the exact side that I started off. That way you don't cut one of the important things on the inside. So be really careful when you open it up. Just open it up the exact way that I did, using the knife, but don't push it all the way, and just carefully do the sides. So now the goal is to get these screws out. Once the screws are out, you're gonna use your knife to slowly lift the thing off. Make sure you don't dig too deep inside. The next thing is to peel off the speakers, that connector. You want to do it gently, that way you don't mess the cable up. And then the next thing is you're gonna pop this clip open, but you also, once again, you want to be careful. Basically, you want to be careful throughout this whole thing. You want to remove this thing right here. Now you're gonna remove the speaker using a heat gun. You want to use a heat gun, that way you don't damage the speaker. You can also use a hot knife, but I personally prefer to use a heat gun. You don't want to make it too hot though. Now you're gonna take the knife and start the exact same spot that I started off, which is you wanna dig that knife at the bottom and push slowly inwards. Don't force it, however, just push slowly inwards and then lift up. So now you're gonna take the board and try to orient it the exact same way I am doing. Basically, you want to do the exact same steps that I did. I had to do a whole lot of tinkering and trying to figure it out multiple times, but the good thing is you guys can watch it and not have to make the same mistakes that I made. So just follow the exact same steps that I did, because you want to align the speakers and the board and all that stuff properly, because if you don't align them properly, then there might be a short where the device might not work well, and if you're trying to track something, it might fail on you at the exact time you need it the most. So pay attention. Now you're gonna carefully lift this thing up from the exact same side that I did. I don't know what this thing is, but I know it's very important for the tracker to work. So do not damage this, because if you damage this, then it's over with. You know, this is not something you can solder, so be extremely careful with this part. You're gonna see small pins. Those small pins need to align with that black tape that you see at the bronze part. Basically, those small pins are what connects the board to those little sticky stuff that we removed. So you don't really need to know exactly what it does. Just follow the exact steps that I follow in this video and you should be good. Now this took me a lot of tries to align them properly, so it might take you a few more tries as well. But the good thing is you can always replay this video, and I try to get the camera as much as possible that way you guys can see it, but it's so hard to, because once you try to get thing close to the camera and then it kind of goes away from my field of view. But anyways, I try my best to show you guys exactly what I'm doing, that way it is very thorough. But the file itself, the 3D printer file itself, should be the exact same size. So just look at the spacing that I have in mind and try to align it with yours. Like I said, it's gonna take a few tries. Just keep doing it until it matches. But also, you might want to watch this video all the way through first and then try it. You know, it may be easier than instead of going step by step, because there are some things that I tried first, they didn't work, and then I had to do it over again because I was trying to align them properly. So you might want to watch this first and then try it. This pin right here, that pin, that corner, is what's gonna be touching that little electric tape. Now that those yellow stuff are actually they're called captain tape, and thus the electrodes is actually in those captain tape. Those yellow captain tape contains the ultra wide band, so that is really necessary. Do not damage those, because if you damage those, your ability to track your device using the ultra wide band is gonna significantly diminish. Your entire device might actually stop working. So be very careful. Just follow the exact steps I followed. See, when I was doing mine, I didn't have a video to go by, so I just kind of winged it, but I was extremely careful and went super slow. The good thing is you guys can watch what I'm doing, and I chose not to speed up this part because I don't want you guys to get this perception that I actually was going faster than I was. You can freely speed up the video yourself, but just be careful, because once again, you don't want to damage that. And once you take that thing off, then you also want to try and align it into the 3D printed case. Now, my steps to actually align this thing on the inside, it took, once again, it took a few tries, but if you fast forward the video to about maybe 2 or 3 minutes or so, you will see that actually I had to adjust that multiple times. And as far as the speaker, the thing itself was quite long, so I had to fold it. I had to fold the speaker on itself. This part right here is for the battery. What you're gonna do is you're gonna move it forward and backwards till you break it, and that's the only part you're gonna break in the entire thing. That part right there, you're gonna break it because it's gonna prevent it from fitting in there. So once you do that, you're gonna also align it once again, and once you align it, you want to look at it. You want to kind of like flip it to the side and look at the bottom part. You want to make sure that those pins are aligning with the speaker pins. That way you can actually trigger it to ring. And now this is for if you want the speaker. If you don't want the speaker, then you don't have to worry about that. But you want to align the pins on the back, and then on the side as well, you also want to align that. Now that one is extremely important for power or some, I don't know what it does, but I just know it is extremely power. I'm using a regular tape to just kind of hold it in place temporarily. And then here you also want to peel this ultra wide band captain tape. I don't even know if it's pronounced captain. I know it's Kapton, so I'm guessing captain or captain. No, it's captain. I don't know, something like that. So once again, carefully peel it off, and attach it to the board. If you're struggling too hard to align the board and the tapes, you can actually solder them. You can solder small tiny wires on the speakers or on those tapes and then attach it to the board. I chose not to go that route because I just didn't feel like doing all that stuff, but that is one way you can actually do it if trying to align it is too much for you. But I think that if you follow the video exactly how I did, then you'll be fine. Next thing is you're gonna take a small copper cable or wire ties. I don't have a copper cable, so I use one of those wire ties that comes with like almost every electronic. And you're gonna strip the tip. And this is one of the only two things you're gonna have to solder this entire thing. As a matter of fact, it can only be one as if you want it, but you would want to solder the end of that wire to that part where you actually broke the battery thing for, and then you want to measure the length. You want to make sure that it's long enough because you're gonna fold it on itself. And then you're gonna measure it, and that part right there is where you're gonna cut and strip all the way. You want a good connection with the battery. So yeah, also when you're soldering, you want to be very very careful not to burn the board. So I usually have my soldering thing iron to about 5 something. So that's what I had mine. I think it was like 5 or 600 degrees. At first I started off at like 350, but it wasn't hot enough. The next part is you're gonna cut curve or bend that wire and then place the battery on top. That way there is a good connection. The bottom part of the battery is negative, so it doesn't really matter as far as the length. This next one is where you're gonna put the positive terminal. You actually don't really have to solder this, but I would recommend soldering it for good stability and for good connection. But yeah, just keep watching the video and keep following along. This is what I mean by you really don't have to solder if you don't want to, because you can easily put that wire into it and kind of loop it around. But I mean, if you already have a soldering machine ready to go, why not just do that, I guess. But yeah, so technically the only thing you really needed to solder is just one part of the battery. But if you want to create that good connection and just for a little bit more reliability, then you would solder the end of it. The top wire is gonna be your positive terminal, so you want to strip the tip, but obviously you don't want to go too far down because you don't want to create a connection with the negative terminal. So just the tip is what you're gonna strip. That sounded so dirty the way I'm saying it. Strip the tip. If you made it this far in the video, just drop a comment. Maybe I would do a giveaway or something in the future. I don't know, and you might be the one that I give it to. I'm trying to figure out who's actually paying attention and who's listening. I know a lot of people are probably gonna fast forward this, but it's kind of important if you're planning to do this. I could have easily made this video way shorter, but the problem is I'm trying to create this video for that person who needs the exact step by step, because quite frankly, when I'm doing stuff like this, I need a step by step. Even though I can figure out a lot of things, for example, I did figure out this whole thing myself. I would have rather just be able to watch video, because then it would have been so much shorter than it ended up taking me, because it took me way too long. But over here, I decided to test it out, and you can easily test it out just by placing your hand on it and putting pressure on it. As you can see, the thing actually uh, it shows up on my phone. So that is pretty nice. That is good uh, way to know that it works. The next thing is I have double-sided tape. Now you would want to use electrical tape preferably, but once again, I didn't have any electrical. I mean, I do have electrical tape, but it's in my garage and it's raining outside. I don't feel like going through all the way. And since I have an electrical tape in my office, I decided to use it. And then the next thing is you're gonna do is you're gonna cut a little bit of the top. You absolutely want to do this, especially if you're using the thick wire like this. If you don't do this, the thing is not gonna close properly. So you don't want to strip the bottom part, just the top part. That way it doesn't create a bulge. And then you're gonna put a double-sided tape at the top of it. I find that closing the edges first makes it easier to close, and then you snap the middle part of it, and that will make it snap and close. So now I have it. I'm not done yet, but I'm testing it out, and as you guys can see, it is connected. However, the sound is not coming on, and it comes on when I put pressure with my fingers. So what's happening is the connection on the speaker is actually not working properly. uh it's so I have a way that I can solve this, and if you guys keep watching, if you end up having this problem, you're just gonna follow the next step. If you don't have this problem, then you're pretty much done for the most part. But if you have the problem, then you're just gonna open it up and do what you're gonna do is you're gonna raise those pins and make them a little longer by using a needle or something to just push them out. So just like that, you want to use one of these pins right here to kind of lift up those little connection pad. Now you want to be careful because you don't want to break them. If you break them, you're gonna have to solder. You're gonna have to put a solder on them, which I'm trying to avoid as much soldering as possible. But you also want to apply just a tiny bit of pressure. That way you can lift them and just make them taller. That way you don't have to use the pressure to create a connection. By lifting these things higher, when you close this little 3D printed thing, is gonna push up against those pads, and this is how I avoided having to solder all these parts. Now earlier I did say that I watched a similar video. I mean, it wasn't exactly, it was for something else, but they were doing something similar and they had to do a bunch of soldering, and I was like, nope, I am not doing that. I'm gonna figure it out, and this was my way of doing it. And so far, I'm editing the video now, and it's been a couple of days, and this thing is working great for me. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a button for it, because I want to be able to use the button in the future. I don't typically use the button, the smart button, which you can press twice or 3 times to search for your phone or to do stuff like that. But I like having that option. And when I 3D printed this thing, the files doesn't give you that option for that button. So what I did was I just cut a little bit of plastic. I cut the plastic in halves and kind of just double-sided tape and put them together to create the button that goes on the back. If you don't care for the button, you absolutely don't need to do this. You can also skip. Yeah. you're gonna attach that button to the back. You're gonna see a button there. So those white pieces that you attach, you're gonna put a double-sided tape and attach it to that, and then you're gonna put it right back into the enclosure. Once again, you have to be careful. As you guys can see, I use a double-sided tape to hold the battery side onto the board, and now I'm just gonna close it together and trying to make sure that everything aligns. You don't want to put the double-sided tape all over though. You want to just put it on a little bit of it. That way it holds the battery sides together, but everything else can create a connection. And now I'm verifying that the buttons are working. Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you convert this to replace this. Now, this is the case. This is the shell. It's empty. And as you guys can see, there's a hole. That's because I cut a piece of that top part off to actually create the button that allows me to be able to click it. And you can see the speaker right here, and it's real easy to open. You just put a blade or your fingertips in it and you pop it open, and you can easily change the battery. Now, as far as thickness, it's still obviously much thicker than the tile at 4 millimeters thick. The tile 2.9, so 2.9, and then with the Samsung at 8 millimeters, like that is just significantly thicker than this. Now, it's obviously wider than the Samsung Tag, but it is definitely slimmer. This means that I can easily put it in my wallet. Now, I used to really love the slim because, you know, being able to just have something so slim in there. But since the battery is dying, now I really have my Samsung device in here. I just love it because now to keep it from sliding out, all I would do is put a double-sided tape on the back like I've always done with pretty much this. And I am so happy and so glad that I was able to do it. I have not found a single video that walked through in depth on how to do this. I did see 2 videos that showed something similar, but none of them showed exactly how they got to this point and the whole process. So yeah, if you have a 3D printer, definitely print one of these STL file. I'm gonna put a link. Shout out to the creator for the file, for making the file, and shout out to Samsung for not making the feature a premium feature that you have to pay to notify you if you left your wallet or something like that. If you don't have a 3D printer to print your STL file, I believe there's a company called PCBWay. I'm not sponsored, but I just see a lot of ads that say something about if you need 3D files printed, you can send them the files and they will print it and ship it to you. So I don't really know how it works, but yeah, the company is called PCBWay. I've never used them. I just seen a lot of ads, and yeah, check them out if you need the file. Obviously it's not waterproof, but it's gonna be in my wallet anyway, so I don't care. But I am so happy. Yeah, take care, guys. Oh, let me put a double-sided tape and put it in there. And yeah, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Put it around here like this and just slide it in my wallet, and it does not fall out. But yeah, peace.